Hey, and welcome back to Love Restore. I am your favorite host, Marshaun Olaniyan. So today we're talking about a relationship goal series. So this is the first part of a three-part relationship series. Today we're talking about the pre-relationship. What should you be doing before you get into a relationship? How should you be showing up? What are the things that you should be working on? So that's what we're going to discuss for this next 30 minutes. But before I jump into today's topic, let's talk about why I decided to start Love Restore. Love Restore was an idea that I had in my mind based off of the information, the tools, the strategies that I didn't receive. Anytime I would have conversations with my girlfriends, we would kind of go down this road of always, relationships would always come up in some form or fashion. And so, because of that, I wanted to really talk about the things that we lacked receiving from our parents and our guardians. A lot of times were exposed to a lot of toxicity and dysfunction when it comes to being in a marriage or in a relationship from our parents and our guardians. And no shade to the parents or guardians, but instead of perpetuating this generational curse that follows in our community, I decided to speak about how to be in relationship not only with yourself, but also relationship with a partner or a spouse, so we can start to break these generational curses and to decrease the divorce rate, which is one of my missions, is to decrease the divorce rate while simultaneously increasing the marriage rate, specifically within the Black community. And I know that we can actually do this. We just need the correct information, we need the correct tools, and we need to start to implement those things so we can start to change these things around within our relationships. And one of the most important things that we really lack or even forget or don't even recognize is how we must have ourselves together, have an idea of what we want out of a relationship, have an idea of what we don't want, right? What needs need to be met in order for you to feel loved. Are you able to give the needs of the other person that you're in relationship with as well, so they feel loved, so they feel wanted, so they feel needed, so you two can have a beautiful blissful relationship, which leads into a beautiful blissful marriage. Again, simultaneously having all of these pieces in play is where we would decrease that divorce rate by being better, by knowing the things that we want, being able to be authentic and not have masks on when we meet people, or um, dealing with their mask when we see red flags, when we notice them as red flags, that we accept what we see from the other person and make a decision, an informed decision to stay or to go, but really being able to walk away and not feel like I have to stay here, I have to deal with this stuff, because maybe, just maybe, somebody else is not going to come and choose me later on. So this is why I decided to start Love Restore, because it's very important for us to get the correct information, but it's even more important to not only have the information, it's super important for you to do something with the information that you have. So your life with yourself, your life with your spouse or partner, your life with your child or children will never be different if you do not make a decision to be different. Where you say, okay, I learned this thing, whatever the thing is. So let's say, for instance, you learn the simple tool of deep breathing before responding, because your response is arguing. So instead of arguing or automatically going down that road, you find, and you've heard, that deep breathing can help you settle your mind. It can help you really think about the words that you want to use, so you're intentional, so the other person can actually hear what you're saying. So now you learn how to calm down your nerves and nervous system, as well as to think in a split second. If I say this thing, is it going to make him hear me? Or is it going to repel him and get us to continue to go down the road of arguing? Well, you know that you want to stop arguing so your babies can actually see how to show up effectively and handle conflict resolution, right? And so now it's time for you to implement this thing. And this is when the test actually happens for you. This is when you know, Did I actually learn what I said that I learned? It is when you're in the situation and you can actually pull those tools out of your toolbox and utilize them in the very moment. This is when you know that you have learned what you read about, what you were told, the podcast that you listened to, wherever you received the information from, it comes into play to say, I got it. I know how to do this. I actually can do this when you're in that sticky situation. So you have to be able to remember the tools, pull them out and use them in the moment, and then watch how much different you feel after it, as well as how different the conversation turned out, right? Did you actually come up with a resolution? Did you were you the only person that was able to get yourself centered enough to have a intelligent conversation, even if the other person is not going down the road with you, they're still arguing, but you're able to compose yourself enough to be able to articulate your needs and wants. So again, you are showing up differently, because here's the thing: we only have control over ourselves. We know that we would like to sometimes control our spouses, even our children. But here's the thing: the only person you can control is you. The only person's reactions that you can control is your own. So, with all of that being said, I want to jump into the relationship series. This is relationship goals series, part one, the pre-relationship. What should you be doing in this pre-relationship? So I want to answer that question. What you should be doing in the pre-relationship. So you should literally be working on yourself. I know that this is something that a lot of people are kind of struggling, like, what does that really mean? And working on yourself is really finding out the things that you love, the things that you hate, the things that you like, the things that you dislike. This is by going out on dates and experiencing the treatment of the other person, or remembering the experiences that you had previous relationships and saying, okay, I know, let's go back to arguing. I know that I don't like to argue. It does not help either one of us. And so, again, applying what you learn, but then also when somebody else comes into your space and into your world, you're able to say, hey, I am working on not being an argumentative person. So now you know that you're recognizing your weakness, and now you're sharing your weakness with the other person. So what's actually happening is that the other person will be more forgiving when they notice that you are an argumentative person, or you start to argue with them, because they can politely remind you, or you can find out how to trigger yourself to stop when you notice that you are doing that, right? So it's really all about you learning how to correct your deficiencies based off of your past experiences and the things that people shared with you, the things that they were saying that they didn't like about you, and also the things that you just personally feel like, okay, I could be better in that area. So maybe yours is literally you're not present when you're spending time with other people, right? So maybe you need to start practicing being present, putting away your devices, turning off the TV, maybe going for walks where you two can converse, but leaving your devices at the house, but being present. Maybe it's playing more games. Maybe it's literally having more intentional talks. Maybe it's sitting in silence and just kind of gazing at one another to increase the intimacy. So whatever your area of weakness is, or you have been told, now you can start to work on these areas of weakness. So that again is what um, some of the things that you should be doing, but that's the main thing. A lot of people do not focus enough on working on themselves and what they should be doing to bring to the table. They instantly think that when they jump into the next relationship, all this junk, i.e., your baggage that you're bringing into the relationship, is just automatically going to disappear. And that is not the case. It only starts to disappear when you are intentional about taking these steps to help yourself be able to deal with and work with your emotions when they start to come to the surface, especially when it's helping you, or I should say, hurting you, going down the road of not resolving anything. So, working on yourself is the first thing. And working on yourself also also to continue what working on yourself actually looks like is resolving your childhood traumas. Now, most people can't resolve their childhood traumas on their own, so maybe you need to go talk to a therapist. Maybe yours is journaling all of the things that you felt about, like why you were showing up the way that you were showing up. And most people can't, because okay, let me say it this way. You can ask yourself a series of questions if you're qualified to do so for yourself. But most people are not qualified to do so. They don't really know how to get down to the root. They don't really know what that actually looks like and why they're showing up the way that they're showing up. So, this is where the coaching, counseling, therapy comes into place. And specifically, what you're looking for is somebody who is qualified to help you draw the stuff out of your blind spots. So now you recognize when they come to the surface, oh, this is what Dr. Such and Such was talking about. This is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm showing up this way. I recognize it in this moment. I recognize why I cling on to the people that I'm dating when I feel like they are leaving me out. So just recognizing some of the things why you're showing up the way that you're showing up, why you're doing the things that you're doing, so you can have a better understanding of yourself. So if and when someone asks you, i.e., your potential partner or your spouse asks you, why do you do this stuff? Now you have an answer for them. And that's a thing. So resolving your childhood traumas is a big thing because you're going to attract people where you're at. So if you're not emotionally mature, if you're not actively working on ridding yourself or at least understanding your childhood traumas and why they're there and why where they came from, you're going to attract somebody that is also still a wounded child internally because you yourself are a wounded child internally. All right, so that's also working on yourself. Another way to work on yourself is finding ways to manage your stress. How do you manage your stress? Another thing is uh, finding out how you resolve conflict. When you get mad, what do you do? Are you a person that punches walls? Are you a person that gives the silent treatment? Are you a person that picks up your things and just walks out the room and even walks out the house, meaning leaving without saying bye? You're just gone for hours at a time. Your spouse finally comes to look for you and they like, this person is not even here, right? So how do you resolve and handle your conflicts? How do you manage your stress? When you are stressed out, do you go into your shell slash cave and don't come out? Do you block everybody out of your world? Like, how do you manage and handle stress? So that is another thing that you should be working on before you get into a relationship. And then the other thing is practicing how to be as clear as possible when you are communicating. And this can be practiced with any and everybody. This can be practiced with your child or children. This can be practiced with your parents or siblings. This can be practiced with your bestie or just someone in your social circle. Really understanding and being as clear as possible when you are communicating. So when the other person or parties leave your presence, do they feel like they understood the words that were coming out of your mouth? What you were actually trying to say, the message that you were trying to convey to them. So working on yourself, that's what you should be doing pre-relationship. Now, why is getting started why is getting started working on yourself so essential? And here's why it's so essential. Knowing your self-worth allows you to realize that you are complete whether you're single or in a relationship. See, a lot of people get caught up on this. I'm not in a relationship. I don't feel worthy. I don't feel like I'm enough. How come can't nobody choose me? I'm and such years old and I'm getting older and older. Why am I still in the same cycle? I'm still single. But realizing this is why it's so important for you to start working on yourself, because you have to realize that you are a complete whole person before you get into the relationship or in spite of a relationship. You are not a half a person. You are not a half a woman. if you are not in a relationship. It's not that don't nobody want you because you're not in a relationship. Maybe, just maybe, you're not ready for the relationship because you keep repelling people because you have yet to be able to articulate the things that you want, need, desire. You haven't started working on those childhood wounds. So anytime somebody does come into your life, because you're really not ready for them, you repel them. You do something to self-sabotage the relationship, and all of a sudden now they're gone out of your life. And you're repeating the same toxic cycle over and over and over again, and you don't understand why you're doing it. It's because you have yet to really understand who you are, and like who you are, and love who you are, and understand that you are enough. Everything that you bring to the table is enough. See, I dealt with this myself, which is why I'm able to speak about this so eloquently, because I did not feel like I was enough. I was teased about my dark skin, and I did not understand how beautiful I was inside and out until I left my home, until I got away from my nest, if you will. And then I had to look myself in the mirror and understand that I was the one that was repelling the men. Because when they met me, they saw my skin color. And I'm bringing that up because every time I felt like I got ghosted or the relationship didn't go to the next level, I automatically equated that to my dark skin, and even secretly me being not good enough, not worthy enough, ugly. But it really had nothing to do with that. What they really saw, but was never articulated, was that I had low self esteem. I didn't have any confidence. I was really hard on myself, and I was too doggone clingy, and I didn't give them space. So it was a lot of stuff that I had to deal with and understand that me, Marshaun, you are repelling the people. Yeah, maybe they got some junk too, but you got a lot of junk that you're bringing to the table, not realizing that you, Marshaun, are helping the relationship not get to the next level. And so now you have to figure out what your thing is. Why is your relationship not going to the next level? Why every time you get these or attract these beautiful souls, and then all of a sudden the same patterns from previous relationships now start to show up in this present relationship? It's because something you have not taken care of. So the lesson that you were supposed to learn 2, 3, 4 relationships, you didn't get it, which is why you keep attracting the same people. You have not up leveled yourself, and in turn you still keep attracting the same rift raft time after time, and you're going to continue to attract the same riffraff until you make a clear, conscious decision to say enough is enough and start getting you together. When I made that decision, I took myself off of the market for just under 2 years because I needed to get me together. Maybe yours that won't take 2 years, but maybe it'll take 5 years. But I can tell you this: the longer that you wait to start working on you, to make you the priority, to understand yourself, to know that you are worthy of who you are just the way that you are, you're still going to be in this toxic cycle over and over and over again. Now, with that being said, I am going to pay some bills because it is time to pay some bills. So you are watching Love Restore on KCCR Brownstone. Listen, we are here. We are in the building. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being a part of the block and the community. Thank you so much for sharing this station with your friends and family, because the station is growing. We're getting more eyes on the station, and we really appreciate that. And we know that we can only do that with your help. This is a station filled with people that look like you, and even people that don't look like you, but are on track with the same mission as KCCR and Cityscape Radio. We all have the same mission in mind, to get the message out there to our community, to say, we are here with you. We understand you. We stand with you. We're just like you. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being a part of Brownstone Living, which is the magazine. If you have yet to download your subscription or to order your subscription, because we have a digital copy as well as a printed copy, there is a link somewhere here that you can go ahead and click and get your copy every month, because it is that important. You're going to hear from voices like myself, as well as those who want to just help you to be better in all areas of your life. So thank you so much for being here. Now, with that being said, let's jump back into why it is so important and essential for you to start working on yourself. The other thing is that when you understand your value and when you value yourself, others will absolutely value you. When you let people know that your time is valuable, they will value your time differently. Now, I was talking to a client of mine about this very topic, because sometimes she has a tendency to be there for everybody, but when it's time for those others to be there for her, no one is there in sight. And or when she's dating, she has a tendency to always be there, always interject herself, and she's super available, right? And because she's super available, her time is not honored like she feels it should be. But it's because she always offers, she never gives a chance for the other person to invite her, to ask her, hey, can you do such and such? For instance, hey, could you come pick me up from the airport? So because she knows that the person has a trip scheduled, she'll just automatically offer herself. And then she gets irritated when we have our conversations, our coaching conversations. Now she's irritated that he or the friend didn't ask ahead of time. And I'm like, well, you're not giving them a chance to. You are there available whenever they call, even if it's in the middle of the night. You're losing sleep because you know that they have this thing going on, but they never ask you to do that. And so you're frustrated that they're not involving you in their life. They're they're calling you last minute to ask you to do things. It's because you're always there. You are the people pleaser slash the yes person. And whenever you are the people pleaser slash the yes person, people have a tendency to use you. And whether they're doing it intentionally or not, because they know that you're always there, no matter the daytime hour, they are going to utilize you and usually ask you to do things last minute. And it's because she's not valuing her time. So if you are not valuing your time, if you don't understand your worth and all the things that you are bringing to the table, then people will continue to take advantage of you, which again was why it's so essential for you to start working on yourself. In this particular case, my client needs to really enforce her boundaries. She states them, so she sets the boundaries, but when it comes time to enforce the boundaries, they are nowhere in sight, which is why the behavior continues. Because when you set boundaries but you do not enforce them, the other person is not outwardly laughing or trying to make a mockery of you, but it does end up happening that way because you are a person that has lip service versus the consequences actually being enforced. And it's not a good feeling. It's not even a good feeling in the beginning to start enforcing your boundaries. But the more that you do that, as I just mentioned, the more that you value you, outsiders, other people than yourself, will start to value you as well. It's that essential. We must value ourselves and understand this is why we have to start working on ourselves. It's also very important for us to cut anyone that intentionally feeds into our insecurities out of our life. Meaning, you have shared this very sensitive thing about yourself. So let's talk about me. As I mentioned before, I talked about my dark skin. So just say, for instance, I told somebody my insecurity about my dark skin when I did have an insecurity about my dark skin, and I told them about it, whether it's a friend, a family member, or a potential partner, and they always brought this thing up, like threw it in my face in a, of course, negative way, like in a way where it's not making me feel good. So, say for instance, I shared this thing, and maybe weeks or months later, now they're bringing up, well, that's why you're so black, and that's why you're so ugly, and that's why you so, and they keep going down this road and or they do it time after time, then that is the person that I need to be getting out of my life. This is what working on me, this is what working on you actually looks like. Understanding the things that you have already shared that you don't like, they don't make you feel good, and then the other party keeps bringing them up when it's convenient for them to try to control you in a way to let you know that I control your emotions. That is not healthy in any way, shape, form, or fashion. It is not healthy. So we have to get these people out of our life, but we also have to understand this is why working on ourselves is so intentional. So the last part of this is how and or where should you start your journey? Starting your journey pre-relationship is to learn to love your free time. Loans, love, learn to love your alone time. A lot of the clients that I work with that have the hardest time with getting to the next level in their relationship, I find that all of them struggle with just being in relationship with themselves, just spending that time alone with themselves. They always have to do something with someone else. They're rarely alone in the company of their own. They also seemingly have to have a fear of FOMO, the fear of missing out. So anytime somebody brings their phone, even though they are exhausted, and most of the time they are very exhausted and they say that they want to rest, but anytime somebody calls, texts, FaceTime, emails, and events come, do X, Y, and Z, they feel they must go. And so they're only pouring from an empty cup after a while, and they're not resting and recharging themselves. They're just giving it all away. And whenever you give it all away, all of a sudden the frustration comes to the forefront. And now you're angry and mad at everybody, but really you should be angry and mad with yourself. So you have to slow down and understand how beautiful your alone time is. This is when you do get a chance to recharge and reset. And really, all of those endorphins come down so you can think about the way that, especially when you're about to date, you can think about the way the people in your life make you feel. And if they don't make you feel good about yourself, if you don't feel happy when you're in their company, if you're always frustrated and angry when they leave your company, then that is a telltale sign that that person is not adding to your life. They're actually taking away slash draining the energy from your life. So you have to be more intentional about that. Another thing is to start if you have not started, or to pick back up the things that will help you to start pursuing your dreams, your passions, your goals, and aspirations. We have to learn about the things that we want to do and then start to go about the business of actually doing those things. So maybe you are a person that loves to play instruments, but you have not picked up your instrument in a long time. I used to play the clarinet and the drums. And so I actually been wanting to learn the oboe, right? But I don't want to learn it enough to actually do something about it, right? However, if I really wanted to do that thing, if that was a passion of mine, if that was a goal of mine to really understand and be able to play the oboe, then I would make time to do that. And that's exactly what you need to do. Maybe you are a gardener who has not been out in the garden or tended to your plants in a long period of time. Now it's time to get back out there and start doing that stuff. Maybe you're a person that likes to sing, right, with your vocals, but you haven't done it in a while. Or you're very artistic, you haven't been into and painted a canvas in a while. Whatever your thing is, get back out there and start doing your thing, because you will be sexier by being able to articulate the things that you like, the things that you love. You can feel the passion of somebody that loves to do the thing that they're actually doing. So get back out there, start doing those things that you love, like, so you are that even that much more attractive to the person that's sitting across from you. Get back into doing the things that you love to do. The final thing that I will say is to take yourself on dates. I know that this is one of the things that a lot of people struggle with. They don't take themselves out on dates for fear of what other people, seemingly what they deem that other people are thinking slash saying about them, because they are sitting at the table alone. And what I find is that Again, this is that alone time. When you can't date yourself, when you don't see the value in taking yourself out, when you don't see the value in getting yourself dressed up for you, not for anybody else. You're getting dressed up for you so you can take yourself out, so you feel good enough to be able to sit alone at the bar or even at the restaurant, have a beautiful meal by yourself where you're sitting in silence, not even playing on your phone, just enjoying the experience that you have taken yourself out on. I find that again, those people struggle to really stay connected with someone else because they don't even like their own company. And if you don't like your own company, how do you expect someone else to like your company? If you don't know the things that you like and love about yourself, about life, what you're trying to pursue and attain, then how do you expect to make a deeper connection with somebody else that does knows those things about themselves? So figure out the things that you like, figure out the things that you love, start working on releasing the baggage from your life, start working on understanding why you do the things that you do. Find time to talk to a qualified person, which again is the therapist is going to be able to help you understand your past. A coach will be able to help you move along your future. And the clients that I work with, I have a tendency to attract a lot of clients that have a therapist so they can help them with the past stuff and the whys. And then they come and work with me so I can help them with moving their life forward and stretching them and helping them to up level their life so they can actually start to attain the things that they want, not only for themselves but also for the relationship and the partner that they either want to attract or they want to be better so they can keep. So I am Marshaun Olaniyan. I'm super excited and proud that you decided to stay with me for these past 30 minutes. You are listening to Love Restore on Cityscapes, KCCR, the Brownstone. We love you guys. There's nothing that you can do about it. And thank you so much. And guess what? Share this, share this with a family member or a friend that you know could benefit from information like this. That way, they can become a part of the family. They can be a part of the community here because, again, we are sharing our story our way with all of the beautiful personalities that are on this radio station. I love you guys. Again, I'm Marshaun Olaniyan. If you want to get in contact with me outside of Love Restore, then go to my website at www.marshauno.com. It's my first name, last initial.com, all lowercase. And I will see you where we talk about the second part of the relationship series goals, the relationship goals series, part two, which is you're in a relationship, now what?